Well, some years ago, the writer George Orwell wrote 1984, Big Brother is watching you. Orwell couldn't have dreamed what the National Security Agency has available to it. And we ask ourselves, does the government need huge surveillance programs to protect us from terrorists? Would we rather have Big Brother watching or our privacy?
Well, those are some of the questions being asked as we find out more about these tracking programs. George Thomas has the story.
The U.S. government is snooping on millions of everyday Americans, and it's been going on for years.
It is sweeping. It is not what I would expect out of the United States.
In a secret program codenamed PRISM, major internet companies like Microsoft, Apple, and Facebook are allowing the NSA and FBI to tap into their central servers to track people. This latest revelation comes on the heels of a discovery by Britain's The Guardian newspaper that the NSA is collecting telephone records of millions of Verizon customers under a top-secret court order. California Democrat Dianne Feinstein defended the administration's spying program, saying it's about protecting America.
We've got to examine ways to be able to get data that can prevent plots from hatching and Americans from being killed.
While the administration insists that data gathering is covered under the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, the order does not allow the government to listen in on the content of the calls.
The information that they're really looking for is on the other end of the call. It's, are they in contact with folks who are, is somebody in contact with somebody that we know to be a known terrorist?
Critics argue it's still a huge overreach of government power.
The idea, they're collecting metadata, which means they probably know where I am all the time. And that bothers me.
The spying operation was limited in scope during George W. Bush's administration, but the program back then drew outrage from a then certain senator from Illinois.
No more illegal wiretapping of American citizens. No more national security letters to spy on citizens who are not suspected of a crime.
And not only is the spying continuing under Mr. Obama's watch, but has greatly expanded according to The Guardian. Not exactly what Congress heard when the administration's top intelligence official testified 3 months ago.
Does the NSA collect any type of data at all on millions or hundreds of millions of Americans?
No, sir.
Now, Director of National Intelligence James Clapper is denouncing the leak that revealed what the government is really up to. He warned that America's security will suffer. Still, the NSA phone records collection has reportedly thwarted a significant terrorist attack.
And I can tell you to that end, within the last few years, there was a domestic case that was thwarted because of their ability to do this.
That only adds fuel to the ongoing debate over how to balance right to privacy and safety in America.
I'm a Verizon customer. It doesn't bother me one bit for the National Security Administration to have my phone number.
I think it violates the Constitution of the United States, and the heart and soul of America is a free country.
George Thomas, CBN News.
Well, the New York Times has weighed in on it, and one of Obama's staunchest allies said, quote, the administration has lost all credibility in this area, all credibility, and I believe it's true. It's, I really think I'd rather have one bomb blow up someplace than to have the entire nation under surveillance. But there's some who think, well, stopping one terrorist bomb is more important, and the billions of dollars that's being spent. But there's another group. If you've ever had an IRS audit, believe me, every paper, every document, every entry in your records is under scrutiny, and it could be the source of a lawsuit against you, even criminal charges. But the IRS says, oh, we're sorry. We squandered you. Lee Webb has that story.
Pat, a senior IRS official has apologized to Congress for wasting taxpayer dollars at an employee conference. The IRS spent more than $4 million at a training event in Anaheim, California 3 years ago. The perks included tickets to Major League Baseball games and $64,000 worth of gifts for attendees. They also spent $50,000 to produce a Star Trek video and another video of IRS agents dancing. House Oversight Committee Chairman Darrell Issa called the spending maliciously self-indulgent. The IRS official right there who played Spock in the Star Trek video faced the wrath of Congress Thursday.
I have looked at that video over and over again, and I swear I do not see the redeeming value.
What were you thinking? Were you thinking this will never be seen?
Frankly, they were not appropriate at that time neither, Mr. Chairman. And the fact of the matter is it's embarrassing, and I apologize.
The IRS spent $49 million on 225 employee conferences over the past 3 years, but we're told that it cut conference spending drastically by last year. A battle between religious freedom and gay rights shaping up in Colorado. A gay couple has filed a discrimination complaint against a bakery in Colorado. The owner, Jack Phillips, refused to sell them a wedding cake because of his Christian views towards homosexual behavior. The couple plan to marry in Massachusetts and celebrate in Colorado, where civil unions are legal. Colorado's civil unions law does not provide, though, religious protection for businesses. Phillips could face a $500 fine if he loses this case and doesn't comply with the order. He could also go to jail for up to a year. His attorney says it would force him to choose between his conscience and a paycheck. I just think he says that that's an intolerable choice. Tropical storm Andrea moving up the East Coast now with strong winds, heavy rains, and possible flooding along the coastal areas of Georgia and the Carolinas. A confirmed tornado touched down in Loxahatchee, Florida. That's not too far from West Palm Beach. The twister damaged buildings, overturned boats, and snapped trees in half. One man says he's fortunate he was only slightly injured when the tornado lifted him up and dropped him in a nearby pool. The National Weather Service says Andrea could cause isolated flooding and storm surges over the next couple of days. Operation Blessing workers are still helping people get their lives back together in Moore, Oklahoma. That area, of course, was hit by a massive tornado in late May, and they're hearing stories now of small miracles. OB spoke with Dave Evans, the pastor at Highland Baptist Church on the east side of Moore. Evans says that even though his community was devastated, there have been some powerful God moments.
One of our church members that we love so much, Cindy, she was killed in the storm. Several days after we had her memorial service, I got a call from a man who was volunteering, who was helping a few blocks from where Cindy lived. And he found a Bible in a Bible case, and it had Cindy's name on it, and it had some information about the church. And he did some research, and he called me and said, I have a Bible I want to give to you. And so I called Cindy's son, and he just began to weep, thinking about how special this Bible was to his mother and how she carried it with her everywhere.
Wow, what a story. Operation Blessing crews continue to help residents clean up debris and repair damage and more. And all over Oklahoma City in that area, volunteers are also offering emotional and spiritual support through hugs and prayer. Pat?
This strange weather, and it's been devastating, but fortunately, if I can use that term, the loss of life has been relatively minimal, but nevertheless, the damage to property and the relations of people has just been horrendous. And our prayers go out to the people, but it's not just more. If that thing had hit full blast into Oklahoma City, they said it would be a damage of biblical proportions. Yeah. Fortunately, it didn't, but it was 1.5 miles across. They'd never seen a tornado of that magnitude. It was just enormous.
Yeah, the damage has been significant. And Operation Blessing was one of the first on the scene, and they will probably be the last to leave. They stay till...
We're out there, and the Mercy Chefs had a trailer. Yes. They were feeding hot food to the first responders who were there helping. So they've now brought their trailer out. Fortunately, the trailer wasn't damaged in subsequent storms, but they're all out there. We're trying to help people, folks, and if you want to help somebody, because there'll be more of these things, this isn't the end of it. Disaster Relief Fund, CBN Center, Virginia Beach, Virginia 23463. We're out there where people are hurting in your name.
Norway is one of the most secular nations in Europe, so it's noteworthy that the best-selling book there is the Bible. Only 1% of the 5 million people there go to church regularly, But a publishing executive in Norway says the increase in the number of immigrants may account for the renewed interest in the Bible. She says now that Norwegians are exposed to other faiths, they've become more interested in their own. And a Lutheran church official says it shows the Bible continues to resonate with people. Operation Blessing and Bon Secours hospitals teamed up to bring food and health care to hundreds of struggling families in the Hampton Roads area of Virginia. They hosted an event called Compassion 2013, Satisfying the Hungry. Hundreds of families were given free groceries and health screenings. Operation Blessing supplied 10,000 pounds of groceries and had a mobile kitchen on the site to provide free meals and cooking demonstrations. And you can find out more about Operation Blessing by going to its website at ob.org.